30 projections in 30 days going into the 2024 regular season for the New York Mets as we continue our month-long deep dive into the Mets' 40-man roster. Today's episode will be focused around Sean Manaea. In a highly reinventive 2023, Manaea was a tale of two halves, circling in and out of the Giants' bullpen. Manaea ended the season posting a 4.44 earned run average, a 3.90 fielding independent pitching, striking out 25.7% of batters across 117.2 innings pitched. In the middle of the season, Manaea worked with Driveline Baseball to reinvent his pitch arsenal while also adding velocity with more torso rotation, adding to a mid-90s fastball that touches 97 and his brand new sweeping action slider. Manaea also specified this offseason that he was looking to add a cutter while retooling his changeup to simulate more of a kitchen sink arsenal. As a very rare strikeout-heavy southpaw, Manaea's adjustments to a subpar mix that relied on movement to a more velocity and spin-enhanced mix can really benefit his ability to go deeper into games. Entering a 32-year-old season, Manaea is expected to be a more frontline piece to the Mets rotation after signing a 2-year, $28 million deal that also includes a player option for 2025.
He's reached the part of his career where, you started to see him fall off, and he does what every pitcher who's been falling off, they goes to Driveline. So, when you need a career resurgence or last gasp of a career, he goes to Driveline.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Sponsor us, though. Good seasons in the past, kind of like Luis Severino, where he showed all-star form in the past. Flashback to when before the Mets were good in 2022. He was the guy on the trade bait that we've talked about on the show. We did videos about it, deadlines before. Manaea, Bassett, and Frankie Montas. So he's been a part of a very good rotation before. He's been a very good middle rotation arm. Has that ability and have shows that upside in the past that now you're getting him on a cheap deal where there were times where you thought we would have to give up some decent prospects. Side left-handed arm, which is never a bad thing. His velocity seems to be kicking up. He had a good second half at the end of the season, which is good to go into the next year with a little bit more positivity. But again, is he an ace? No. But now, can he be a 3? I think that's very possible, especially in this rotation.
He really did spend a lot of time in the bullpen for San Fran this past season. He was a guy that before that, past couple of years, he was making those 30 starts that I like to see. So he was a guy that was able to give you 30 starts, but, San Fran, they had the good rotation. Manaea wasn't himself, so, they messed around in the bullpen a little bit. But now, with the way this Mets team is constructed, he's going to have to be a starter again. We'll see how much, being in Driveline is able to help him. Obviously, the uptake in velo, having more movement on his pitches, having a better arsenal to work with, all those things. Stern's ability to kind of identify talent. I feel like Manaea got a pretty good payday, all things considering. Look at what a lot of the other pitchers got. As the time we're recording this, still a lot of pitchers unsigned. So for David Stearns to prioritize him, give him what can be a multi-year contract, there must be, what Manaea has is stuff that Stearns really liked in order to do this deal. And again, you have to trust him with how he evaluates pitching. So I do like that, he's left-handed and what have you. Age 32, not great, but not bad either. So like Andrew said, in the ideal world, he's, number 3, number 4 for this team to start the year. He's going to be more than that. But he's just one of those guys that he'll make starts for you. And like we say, he's better than Carlos Carrasco and plenty of other pitchers that we've seen. He's just a solid rotation piece with the upside of being a good pitcher. You know what I mean? Like, at a worst days, he's maybe average, maybe a little below average. But if everything breaks right, he could be a good pitcher for you. So it was a low risk, potentially pretty good reward move for the Mets. And I'm interested to see how he does.
Now, I think that it's pretty much been established from David Stearns that he does like his lefties, and he likes his different types of lefties with different types of looks. You have your soft-tossing lefty in the bullpen in Brooks Raley. You have your hard-tossing lefty with Jake Diekman. And then you have the same thing in the rotation with Jose Quintana And now you have Sean Manaea, who is a huge strikeout lefty, which is very rare to come by from a starting rotation. Manaea has been one of my favorite pitchers in the game for a long time, and I'm glad that they picked him up with the upside that he has. One of the most intriguing signings that they've had this entire offseason. Now, as for my projections on Manaea, I just want to let everybody know that projections are not predictions. They are benchmarks of the player's current specific percentile outcome based on predictive data and results. I decided to use, in my opinion, each player's current 75th percentile outcome. Although a majority of player projections are usually from the 50th percentile outcome, I personally wanted to use a median between sustainability and upside. It also helps you identify which players I am high on and which players I am low on. As for Sean Manaea going into 2024, 156.1 innings pitched, a 26.7 strikeout rate, an even 7 walk rate, 3.91 earned run average, a 3.36 fielding independent pitching with a 1.1 home runs per 9, and an even 2 wins above replacement.
That's pretty generous. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. That number that's spit out is the exact ERA he had in 2021, where he had a really nice season making the 32 starts, and that was with Oakland. He had 2 shutouts as well. And I think that when you look at this past season, working, kind of bullpen, also kind of starting, he wasn't pitching deep into games. So, for him to be closer to 2021 form would be nice. I'm curious to hear what the other places projected him at, because again, that's pretty generous. I wasn't expecting that high. I think he will be better than. I mean, it's not too far off from where I would have him, but it was maybe a little more than I was expecting, compared to at least a lot of the other projections that we've heard so far.
In terms of the workloads, kind of a range of 138 to 170. So, I mean, you got a lot of workloads. So
170 would be a big number for him.
You're going to be able to get a bigger workload from Sean Manaea with a 6-man rotation, because out of whether you want to talk about Luis Severino or not, just the injury aspect, Sean Manaea is like the perfect pitcher for a 6-man rotation. Like it doesn't get any more perfect than that. As a lefty who has had, an ability to give you 30 starts in the past before, and you also have Sean Manaea who gets you strikeouts, and you can also get him throwing at max effort every 6 days instead of every 5 days, and he can give you a bigger workload.
Yeah, I mean, now especially 160 innings, I mean, just that would be, for him at least, that would be what he would be brought in, kind of the Bassett role, like if you want to call it, and using past regimes.
60 in 2022, so again, it's not unheard of.
The guy you could pencil in 5-6 innings every start, and like I said, in the 6-man rotation, kind of durable, always been durable. Again, rubber arm, again, with the new improved stuff. 4 ERA, 160 innings. I think desperately now in this rotation, I think we would sign that shit up in a heartbeat. Consistency, and to find a guy who could find, with maybe him and Quintana, pairing up to maybe get 300 innings out of 2 pitchers. Hell, that would be amazing. Even it might be not elite stuff, but just to have 300 innings to pencil and say, hey, all right, that works. We need to fill in the rest.